it is Mr. Scotty Pie here, and I am back for another film review. Today I am talking about the brand new Netflix release, The Old Guard. This was released, I believe, on Friday. Just got around to watching it just a few hours ago. I thought I'd just talk about my thoughts on this film. So this is a film which is directed by Gina Prince Bythewood. Not seen any of her films before, so completely unfamiliar with her as a director. It's also based on a graphic novel by Greg Rucka. Not heard of the graphic novel before, so therefore not read it, didn't know the story, didn't know anything about this going in. Didn't even realise this was a graphic novel until it popped up in the credits that it was based on a graphic novel. So this was all brand new for me. I didn't know what I was getting into going into it. I assumed it was some sort of action film going by the film poster. But that's all I had. So I went through it completely blind, completely open-minded, didn't look at any reviews for it. So I had nothing to go on going into it. This is going to be a spoiler review, by the way. So, spoiler warning. This film, it's cast. We have the star of the film, Andy, played by Charlize Theron. Obviously, you know her from such films as Munster and Mad Max Fury Road. You had Kiki Lane, who I've not actually seen before. Her most notable role being If Beale Street Could Talk. I've not seen that film yet. So this was a brand new actress for me. We also had Marwan Kenzari, who is in the recent live action version of Aladdin. He plays Jafar. And you also had Chiwetel Ejiofor, who has been in a lot of films such as Doctor Strange and Kinky Boots and a whole string of fantastic movies. An actor I do respect very much. And the other actor we had of note was Harry Melling, who you'll know from the Harry Potter series as Dudley Dursley. So first, the storyline. The general storyline, it's kind of a story that's been told 1,000 times over, but with a new twist. It's kind of two stories that you've heard 1,000 times over merged into one. That's kind of the twist. So you've got the general, it's kind of a war story. With you find something else is going on. Extractions of people, and they get a double cross and they get caught up in it, and it ends up being they're the hunted after being the hunters. That's a story you've heard like a million times before in general modern day war films and throughout action films of history. The other twist is the fantasy element, that these people aren't just mercenaries, they are immortals. They absolutely cannot die. If they get shot, they spit the bullet back out and get up and carry on. They won't age, they can live forever. And that's your general story, and that's your twist. It's like a fantasy element meets quite a realistic war/action film. Each of these elements are done relatively well. The action in the war film does make it seem like when you're watching a realistic war film, such as like Hurt Locker or Green Zone with Matt Damon, things like that. They've managed to capture that feel, and the fantasy elements. It does capture the elements of more fantasy element aimed at adults, because this is a 15 rated film, so it is more directed at an older audience, not a younger, where fantasy films can usually go, such as like Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings, where they try and capture the whole family audience. This is for adults to enjoy. The story itself, as I said, it's two things you've seen 1,000 times over mixed together. So the storyline's predictable. There's twists in the film which you can see coming a mile off. Even the twist where I'm not sure the character's name. I said I've very recently literally finished watching the film and decided to turn my camera on, so I can remember some of the characters' names. One of the characters you find out is actually sold out, the main character Andy, out to this Merrick Corporation, who are trying to extract their immortality so they can create cures and everything, and they don't care what torture and murder they have to do to get there. It's all for profit. Again, a story I've heard 1,000 times over in film and television history. They kind of reveal the twist about 2 minutes before the twist comes. They're going to go, oh, by the way, someone's cheating now. Guess what? Who's cheating on you? He's like, yeah, you've kind of just told me that. This isn't a twist now. You've just told me there's a twist coming. You've told me the twist. So that was a bit rubbish. And there's another part where you find out that the immortals eventually do come mortal one day. Don't know when, don't know how, but eventually one day they'll stop coming back to life. So as soon as you hear that in the beginning of the story, you're like, okay, so one of these is going to die, and it's more than likely going to be Charlize Theron's character. And lo and behold, she doesn't die, but she becomes mortal. What a shock. Same with Chiwetel Ejiofor's character. Chiwetel Ejiofor, sorry, I get his name correctly. I can't remember his character's name again. I do apologise, but he's bad as the villain, but you kind of work out there's something more to him, and what you do work out is quite interesting. That, and he does give him a bit of fleshed out, but yeah. So story wise, I give this film a solid 6.5 out of 10. As in the story, the actual overarching story. It's the twists are obvious. You know the storyline going from the first 5 minutes. You go, okay, I can kind of guess what this general idea, this general overarch, I'd say, of the film is going to be. So I'm only giving it a 6.5 as a higher rating, even though I just like it off, is because it is an interesting twist of the fantasy meets quite realistic action. So I give it a 6.5 for that. But for the acting, obviously we have Charlize Theron, who is a phenomenal Oscar-winning, multi-award-winning actress. And she does do a decent job in this. I'm not going to say she's smashed at the ballpark like she did for like Munster, where it was her career-defining moment. This isn't a career-defining moment performance, but I'm not going to lie, she did not phone this in. This was not a basic, boring performance. She did not go, oh, I'm only here for the money. It was not one of those sort of performances. You can tell that she chose this project because she liked the project. So she put some effort into it, but I don't think this was down to her acting. I'm not going to say this was groundbreaking. I think it was more, she acted within the realms of the role. She didn't overact the role, she didn't underact the role. This role didn't need her to be a Munster style performance, so she didn't give one. Maybe she could have added some more gravitas in some of the moments, possibly, but she did what she needed to do. Kiki Layne, who plays Niall Freeman in the film, who's kind of the person whose perspective you've seen this film from. As I said, I've not seen her in anything before. She's a good actress. I really enjoyed watching her performance. Again, she's not going to win any awards for this role, and I'm not going to say she's on par with some of the better performances in this, such as the other Old Guard, Immortal People. I think she was the weakest actor within that group, in my opinion. That's not a slight on her. There was just some fantastic actors in that group that really made you feel some actual emotions at times. So I think she was great. but there was just better in this film. Chiwetel Ejiofor was the standout in this film for me. He is an amazing actor anyway. I've never seen him put a poor performance in. He seems to act because of the love of acting, and you can see even in this film. He knows what I say. Charlize Theron stayed within the realms of a character. I think Chiwetel Ejiofor went over his character and tried to add gravitas where maybe the scripts didn't allow it, and I think actually enhanced his character at times, and he added to the role quite a lot. We had Harry Melling, as I said, you might know from as Dudley Dursley in the Harry Potter franchise. He's the weakest actor in this film. Not maybe the weakest actor, but the weakest character. He's over the top, he's generic, he's one-dimensional. Not a fan of his character in this film at all. Not starting his acting. I think he's a good actor for the roles he plays normally, which is a lot of TV roles, such as like Merlin I've seen him in, and obviously Harry Potter when he's a small character at the beginning of the films. When he's up acting face to face against Chiwetel Ejiofor and Charlize Theron, you can see he's basically standing in front of giants. He's a mortal standing in front of giants, and it kind of shows. He stands his ground, but they can step on him quite easily. Nothing to do wrong with him. I just think it's inexperience versus experience in that point. Obviously, as if he keeps getting these big roles, he's only going to learn and become a better actor, and eventually he will be looking eye to eye against actors of that caliber. As I said, I was saying people in the other group. Didn't learn all the actors' names and character names. I do apologise, but there was a couple in the group. They had some fantastic moments. I think now at the 4, 5 Immortals, they were the standouts for me. When they did little speeches about their love for each other, it was phenomenal. It really gripped you. It was gravitas, it was beautiful, it was fantastic. They were the standouts of the Immortals for me. Of the cast as a whole, Chiwetel Ejiofor was the standout actor, but in my opinion, he's a hard one to overcome because he's such a good actor. So, for acting ability, I'll give this a solid 7.5 to an 8. Good acting, very much active in the realms of the characters, worked well for the film, very good. So, that's overall for the film. I enjoyed this film. I very much enjoyed this film. They've set this film up for a solid sequel, and it's a sequel that I will actually watch. Some films I watch and go, there's a sequel, I'm like, nah, I don't want to watch it. I don't care. I enjoyed the film, but I don't need to see any more of it. This one, I enjoyed the film, and when the sequel drops, which I'm assuming it will, I will be watching it on day of release. I enjoyed the film that much. This film's not a film that's going to change your life, going to change any thoughts or memories for you or anything like that. It's not trying to. It's what it is. It's an action-adventure fantasy film. And it does everything it says in the tin. It's not the best one you'll ever watch, but it's far, far from the worst you'll ever watch. So my overall opinion of this film, I will give this film, I'm hovering between a 7 and a 7.5, but I think I'm going to go for a 7.5 for this film. I enjoyed it. It's an enjoyable, fun film. It's one I'd recommend for if you fancy just a nice, enjoyable film. Yeah, 7.5. I'm happy with that score. What did you think of this film? Did you enjoy it? Did you not enjoy it? What was your score? Pop it in the comments below. I'd love to have a chat with you. I do respond to all comments. You can also hit me up on social media. My Twitter is at Mr. Scotty Pie, same as the channel name. If you enjoyed this video, drop it a like. And if you want to see more things like this, consider hitting the subscribe button. It would mean the world to me. Have a good day, evening, night, morning, toilet break, whenever you're watching this. Thank you. And thank you for making it to the end of the video. If you'd like to drop a like, a subscribe, share, hit the bell notification, that would be amazing. And you will see on this side of my head, you will see another video which YouTube has recommended just for you. And on this side of my head, you will see a logo to subscribe to the channel. If you want to hit that, I will love you forever. Goodbye.